Greetings and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Leah Love. I'm so excited to have you all back. I have a really fun share that I have been planning to put out there on this channel, but didn't have a lot of time over the weekend. And that is of how we have brought Eric and I, who's my husband, how we have brought our personal marriage meetings to the dinner table to involve our children. So I just want to share how that came about and the reasons why we wanted to do that, and then some of the wonderful outcomes. So thank you for again sharing this time with me. Thank you for again visiting my channel. And again, my name is Leah Love, and I love to talk about all things stay-at-home wife, marriage, homeschooling, cooking, cleaning, homemaking, interior decor, pretty much anything that involves my passions and my interests as a wife and mother. So one of the things that I really wanted to do much better this time around in this marriage is that I wanted for Eric and I not to kind of dissolve into a life in which we are so concerned with our day-to-day activities that we tend to slack on personal communication, on the time that we just spend together one-on-one, and so that we can maintain the feeling as well as the level of intimacy that we had during our courtship. He and I had a really wonderful, fast and furious courtship. And so we met and were married within 9 months, and we were engaged within 5 months. And so, as always, as Eric always says, when a man knows what he wants, he's definitely not wasting any time. And that we did not. We actually covered quite a bit within 9 months. And so it was also very interesting because we lived in different states. So we had to talk with each other every night on the phone at an appointed time. We enjoyed that. And we just had such in-depth conversations, getting to know the core of who each other were, and planning for our engagement, planning for our wedding, planning to move, myself moving to a new state. We just were doing so much, but it was truly an time of intimacy and connection. And then we also went through premarital counseling with our officiant, who also does marriage counseling, because we wanted to be sure that we started on the right foot. And through that, we gained so much insight on the various types of intimacy and how this is a spiritual union which requires effort and acknowledgement and putting that relationship at the forefront. And of course, as busy parents and him working and all of the things that comes with bringing together a blended family with children of different ages, it is very, very easy to allow bills, life, schedule, school appointments, trips, and all of that to get in the way of the things that brought the two of you together in the first place and allowed your courtship to progress, which was that burgeoning, blossoming intimacy. And I started noticing after we got back from the honeymoon and really started settling into our lives here and just kind of putting the pieces together in terms of now it's the reality, and work doesn't stop, homeschool doesn't stop, each meal every day doesn't stop, so someone's got to do it, and we're all playing our role here. But we had less and less time for intimate conversation. And so I said, Eric, I would love for us to go ahead and set a schedule, maybe based on what we have going on, maybe every Monday and Friday, before you go off to work, we just sit maybe half an hour and maybe review the various worksheets that we had in our marriage counseling, or some of the other novels that Eric brought to my attention during our courtship that we read together, in regards to how to communicate properly and adequately in a relationship, and basically good relationship advice. And so I said, we could go over a chapter of that. And he was like, you know what, that's awesome. We could also go through verses in the Bible and really kind of see how we can relate that to our lives. And, maybe we can think about that throughout the day after having discussed it early in the morning, and then come together in the evenings and kind of discuss how that passage affected us throughout the day, or any insight that came up. And we thought that was wonderful. And so he was really thrilled and pleased that, that we caught ourselves before we allowed ourselves to go too far into just being on autopilot and not focusing on putting our relationship first, which is the foundation of our home and our marriage. And so we started doing that. And in fact, Saturday, we had a discussion on through one of the books that we were given as a wedding present. It was on the subject of exalting and exalting your partner. And so we pulled out the dictionary. He gave his thoughts about it. I gave my thoughts about it. We were really able to ask each other good questions and discuss the topic of exalting. And I'd love to do a video on that at another time. But for now, suffice it to say that in a meeting, a marriage meeting between the two of us, prior to that, the day before that, we had a meeting, and that was our initial meeting, and we just decided to kind of talk about how it was going to go, why was this important to us, and really kind of catch up on a lot of the goals we talked about during courtship in terms of our family meetings involving the children and the things that we wanted to do short and long term, that we kind of not dropped the ball, but we just had the wedding planning. It was getting close. We had the honeymoon. We just had a lot going on, and so we weren't really able to continue fleshing out a lot of those plans that we knew we were going to put into place. So we were able to kind of pick that ball up and start moving that forward. And so that was really fun. And one of the things that he brought up is he said, you know what, in talking about the importance of utilizing family time at dinner time, with no devices at the table, and really utilizing that time to catch up with the children and to discuss some of the things that we were discussing prior to when we used to have our family-wide family wealth meetings. And that's yet another conversation. But he said, why don't we also from time to time pull in some of the ideas that we talk about in our marriage meetings, but talk about that in our dinner time, during our dinner time, but from the perspective that the children can understand. Because it's really, really important for us to build a legacy of a family culture, of marriage culture. So a family culture of marriage culture, and really steer the children into a direction where they understand the fundamentals of what makes a marriage work, that they value marriage, that they value connection and relationships, and not just kind of throw them out there to the wolves and hope that whatever they saw us doing and kind of gained through osmosis, that they would be able to put that into practice. But we really want the children to have a fundamental education on marriage from within the family. And we thought, we said to ourselves, what better way to promote the ideals that we ourselves are promoting and enhancing in our lives, but by talking about that at the dinner table with the children. So it was absolutely fun on Saturday. Like I said, Eric and I discussed it, exalting one another. And so that night at dinner, when the children were there at the table, Eric brought up, children, your mom and I were talking about the word exalting, and do you know what exalting means? And then he brought the book to the table, and while we were eating, he read the definition. And we just had a conversation with the children about the importance of exalting those that you love in your life, and what that does for you as the giver, and what it does for the person who is the receiver. And we also talked about ways in which to be a good receiver, and understanding the value of receiving that and what that means from the other person's perspective. And so then we talked about the importance of having a culture of exalting one another in our home. And so they understood it, and they had a good time talking about that. And then now today at lunch, it dawned on me, you know what, I need to do some assignments with these kids. We only had the youngest ones, Tiki, who's 7, and Sinayat, who's 11, almost 12. And I said, you know what, I've got an assignment for you guys. You two are going to find somehow during the day-to-day before dinner time, I'd like for you two to exalt one another on something randomly, and then come back and report to me what you said to the other person during the day. And of course, Tiki says, I don't want to exalt Sanaya. She gets on my nerves. And so, he said, well, you know what? You'll be all right. And I know there are things that you like about your sister that you admire about her. And she says, I don't know. So anyway, we laughed about it, but I'm looking forward to dinner. Oh, and then I also said, since I'm giving the assignment, I don't have to include myself this time. So I said, I also want you not only to exalt one another, but I want you all to exalt Eric at some point during the day so that I can hear about how that went, and we can talk about how it felt when you were doing it and how the other person received it. And then we want to hear from the person who received it how they felt about it. So I think this is a really, really exciting and fun way for us to maintain connection and closeness, and not only to keep information and knowledge just amongst the adults, Eric and I, but to find ways to filter that down through the family and pass it on to the younger generations. And I'm thinking that this is going to be a wonderful way to enhance our, family wealth meetings, our family finance meetings, and the goals that we have for our family, but also to instill these values that they can take with them, not only in learning to treat each other more humanely, and to think about their relationships with others. It can inform their future relationships, social relationships with other children, how they want to be treated. It'll help them to trigger, to pay attention to the triggers when they're not being treated well, and then also inform their future relationships. So to me, I think it is a win-win. I'm excited about it, you all, and I'll continue to update you on this, but I thought you all might be really, really interested in that as well. Again, this is Leah Love. Thank you so much. If you like this content and would like to hear more about families, blended families, homeschooling, homemaker, marriage goals, marriage advice, tips on the things that I do, definitely please give this a thumbs up, and subscribe, share with other friends who might be interested in these topics. I'd love to hear your advice as well, and definitely comment below if you've done something like this in your family, or if you think this is a good idea. I would love to hear more from you. We have a growing community, and I'm going to of course be writing more on my blog, leahloveonline.com. I also have a free group on Facebook called Single Life to Fabulous Wife for those who are looking for dating advice. I am a dating coach, and I am a beautiful mind and focus and mindset coach. So I do have that on my website, which is leahloveonline.com. And I do have an exclusive dating masterclass that has a plethora of courses in it, and that covers everything from mindset to how to write your bio and your profile, and utilizing all of the tips and the techniques that I use during my dating life to get myself finally to the point of rapid success. And I'm really, really excited about it. So I will put all that information in the links below, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.